The Great Hall of Valor on planet Zarvath Prime was silent, except for the hum of power cores. 12 of the Empire's strongest female warriors stood kneeling, heads bowed in shame. Each had failed the royal trial, the sacred test of control, focus, and emotional discipline that decided who would serve as protector to Princess Lyra Veka, heir to the celestial throne. For the first time in 5 centuries, not a single warrior had passed. The Emperor's hologram flickered overhead, his voice cold as interstellar ice. My daughter remains unguarded. Find me one who can balance heart and mind, or the throne will stand unprotected. The warriors trembled. Lyra clenched her jaw. Pride and frustration simmered beneath her flawless blue-silver skin. She was born of the royal line, trained to command fleets, but no one had yet been worthy to stand at her side. Then, in the silence, came the faint squeak of a cleaning drone. A man in a gray uniform shuffled across the pristine marble floor, mopping the oil stains left by the failed test machines. A human, the lowest species in the hierarchy of the Empire. His ID badge read, Eli Mercer, Janitorial Technician, Deck 23.1. The janitor and the Princess Eli whistled softly as he mopped, unaware that 12 alien eyes and 1 royal glare were burning holes through his back. When he finally looked up, his mop froze mid-swing. Morning, your glowingness, he said, giving an awkward half-salute. Gasps rippled through the hall. Calling the royal heir your glowingness was practically treason. But Princess Lyra only blinked, tilting her head in mild curiosity. You are cleaning the floor during the royal trials? She asked, her melodic voice echoing. Yep, Eli replied. Leaky servos, oil everywhere. Someone's got to keep it tidy. Wouldn't want you tripping during your fancy warrior tests. The guards twitched. Lyra's nostrils flared. No one dared speak to her that way, and then, against all protocol, she laughed. A bright, genuine laugh that startled everyone. You're bold for a human, she said. Eli shrugged. I'm just underpaid. The joke that changed everything. Lyra turned back to her warriors. You all failed because you lacked control under pressure, she said coldly. Perhaps I should choose someone who has no power to begin with. The warriors looked at one another in confusion. Then she smirked, her voice dripping with irony. You there, janitor, perhaps you should take the test. Maybe your mop can conquer what my finest soldiers could not. Eli blinked. Me, I'm no soldier. I just clean the mess after the soldiers. The hall chuckled nervously. Lyra stepped closer, her glowing eyes gleaming. Come now, human. What do you fear? I promise not to disintegrate you unless you mop poorly. Eli rolled his eyes. Fine, but don't blame me if your test gets squeaky clean. The crowd gasped again at his sarcasm. Lyra arched a silver brow, then unexpectedly reached out and pinched his arm, just lightly, playfully. There. Now you're marked. You belong to the royal trial for the next cycle. He winced. Ow, that's HR inappropriate, your glowingness. The trial of balance moments. Later, Eli stood awkwardly in the center of the arena. Strange glowing rings floated around him, symbols of mind, matter, and motion. The royal test was designed to evaluate precision under mental strain. Fail, and the rings would discharge enough energy to knock an armored warrior unconscious. Eli's mop still dripped beside him. Lyra stood on the observation deck, arms folded. Begin, she commanded. The rings ignited. A swarm of holodrones attacked from every angle, projecting illusions of collapsing walls and exploding stars. Eli yelped and ducked instinctively, swinging his mop like a sword. He slipped once, nearly fell, and in that moment the mop head struck one of the holoprojectors, short-circuiting it. A surge of static filled the room. The entire system rebooted. The observers gasped. Somehow, through sheer accident or instinct, Eli had broken the test's illusionary algorithm. Lyra's eyes widened. He bypassed the fear simulation. Eli blinked. Did I? I was just trying not to die. The Emperor's command within hours. Word of the incident spread through the citadel. The human janitor who passed the royal test became the talk of the Empire. The Emperor himself summoned Lyra. You humiliated my warriors, he hissed, his voice echoing from his golden throne. And yet, this human succeeded. Explain. Lyra knelt. It was an accident, father. Accidents reveal truth, he replied. You will make him your guard, Lyra froze. My what? Your protector. Your companion in the coming trials of the crown. The fates have spoken through chance, she wanted to protest. She, the future ruler of 1,000 systems, guarded by a janitor. But royal law was binding. Eli, meanwhile, was scrubbing a corridor when soldiers surrounded him. Human Eli Mercer, the commander barked. By order of the Emperor, you are assigned as royal guardian to Princess Lyra Veka. Eli dropped his mop. You're kidding. No, said the commander. May the stars pity you. Training the untrainable. The next weeks were a blur of training, testing, and cultural confusion. Lyra tried to teach Eli telepathic focus techniques. He responded by falling asleep mid-lesson. She demanded he memorize royal etiquette. He spilled tea on a diplomat. She ordered him to polish her battle armor. He polished her boots instead, claiming the armor already shone enough to blind traffic. Yet beneath the frustration, something changed. Lyra began to laugh again, really laugh. Her stoic mask cracked. No one else in the palace dared speak to her honestly. Eli did without fear or flattery. One night, as they looked out from the palace balcony, the twin moons rising over the silver sea, Lyra finally asked the question that had been haunting her. Why aren't you afraid of me? Eli leaned on his mop handle. You don't scare me. You're just lonely. Her eyes softened. Lonely? Everyone treats you like a symbol. I treat you like a person. Big difference. For a moment, the warrior princess said nothing. Then she whispered, Perhaps that's why you passed the trial. The invasion peace never lasted long in the galaxy. One dawn, alarms wailed across Zarvath Prime. A fleet of Rinta marauders, ancient enemies of the throne, had breached orbit. The Emperor was off-world, leaving Lyra in command. Activate planetary defense grid, she shouted. But half the systems were offline from sabotage. Inside the control room, panic spread like fire. Eli, still wearing his janitor uniform, rushed in. I can fix this. Lyra glared. You are not authorized. I fix stuff for a living, remember? He said, already prying open a maintenance hatch. As the alien officers barked in confusion, Eli rewired the control core using a fusion of human intuition and pure dumb luck. Sparks flew. Consoles flickered to life. The defense grid roared awake, firing plasma lances into the invading ships. Grid online, shouted the technicians. Lyra turned to him, stunned. You saved the planet, he grinned. Guess my mop skills translate, Seb. The aftermath, after the battle, the Empire held a grand ceremony in the Hall of Valor once again. This time, the Emperor himself bowed before the man who had once cleaned his floors. Eli Mercer of Earth, he declared. By decree of the Celestial Crown, you are now Knight Custodian of the Royal Line. You may choose any honor. Eli scratched his head. Just give my old janitor crew a raise, and maybe a new mop. Laughter filled the hall. Even the Emperor smiled. Lyra approached, her gaze softer than anyone had ever seen. You truly are impossible, she said. A human janitor who humiliated warriors, rewrote destiny, and saved an empire. Eli shrugged. All in a day's work. Though my mop's pretty tired, she smirked, and, echoing their first meeting, pinched his arm again. Then consider this your royal reminder, she said. You're still mine to command, he grinned. Yeah, but now you say please. The legend of the janitor Knight years passed. Eli became a symbol of humility and courage across the galaxy. Children told tales of the janitor who became a hero, while Princess Lyra, now Queen Lyra, ruled with newfound empathy. Their friendship and unspoken bond bridged two species that once saw only difference. The trial of balance was rewritten in history, not as a test of strength, but of heart. And deep in the royal archives, beneath layers of gold and crystal, one relic remained preserved behind glass, a simple mop, burned at the edges, labeled, the weapon that cleaned the stars. Epilogue, the last pinch on the anniversary of the Great Invasion. Queen Lyra walked the palace corridors in disguise, unseen by most. She found Eli in his old janitorial wing. Now more museum than workplace, he was still cleaning. You could retire, you know, she said softly. He turned, smiling. And let someone else ruin my perfect shine? Never. They stood together under the sunlight pouring through stained glass. The years had changed them, she, a queen of grace. He, the legend who never stopped mopping the universe's mess. Eli, she said quietly. Thank you for reminding me that power means nothing without laughter. He winked. Any time, your glowingness, Lyra laughed, the same pure laugh from years before. Then playfully she reached out and pinched his arm one last time. This time Eli didn't flinch, because this time the whole galaxy knew. Sometimes destiny doesn't choose warriors or kings. Sometimes it chooses the one holding the mop. Word count 120. Genre: sci-fi adventure, light humor, uplifting drama. Themes: humility, equality, courage, destiny, unexpected heroism.